Okay, hi. Welcome. I'm Kate. Thanks for watching these videos. Appreciate it. I've got something special for you.
15 seconds. And here we go. In 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Engine ignition and liftoff of the Falcon 9 rocket on Starlink 6-69. The Falcon 9 has cleared the tower. Fifteen seconds. And here we go. In 10, 9.
All right. Hello, that was cool, right? I got a link to the clip and also that full coverage from the channel Spaceflight Now. And yeah, I was gonna try and have a guest come on tonight, and she was busy, which is understandable. She's a busy lady. But I did want to do a cool stream for Veterans Day. In my old life, um, I used to work in broadcast production. I was always a grunt. And one of my first jobs when I was about 17, my folks were in this business. And so my mom had some friends over after a basketball game, and they were all chatting up at the house. And I said, "Oh, I want to work in broadcasting," and they were like, "No, you don't." And my parents told me, "No, you don't." But I was asking the guys, you know, how do you get into it? And they're like, "Well, you got to start at the beginning. You got to learn how to coil cable for handheld cameras." And so that's what I started doing when I was 17. And I would work for the Jumbotron crews in arenas. So it wasn't actually for broadcast on television, but it was on the big screen in the arena. So they have their own cameras for that, their own production thing. And it's essentially um, where a lot of people would get their start. There was a director for the Jumbotron for years named Alan Jewell, and it was like the best school for learning broadcast because you're live, but their stakes aren't so high. And I would always work a Veterans Day concert that they would have at the University of Utah, and they'd fill the Huntsman Center with um, a full orchestra on the floor where normally a sport event would be played, gymnastics or basketball. And then in the crowd, they'd have each section for each branch of the military. They'd have their own section, and so they would play their each branch has their own song, and when each branch's song was playing, that whole section would stand up, and it was really cool. I got to do that for a few years. I worked for my local public television station as well, and um, it was on campus at the University of Utah, so they would actually broadcast that locally, and um, that was like one of my first gigs was coiling cable for a handheld camera um, during the Veterans Day concerts. And then, excuse me, lately I've been playing a lot of my friend's band, Ginger and the Gents, and they have a great song for veterans as well.
Man, he wore a green.
Sorry.
Daddy was a soldier man, he wore a green beret. He swore he would defend this land until his dying day. He and his band of brothers sang the airborne song. Back home they sang for peace while they faced the Viet Cong. And everything went wrong. Blood, sweat, and tears, sleepless nights so long. Days feel like years on the fields of Vietnam, Vietnam. And another brother's gone. As tough as nails. In the mountains of Afghanistan, he and the Rangers gave him hell, they gave him hell. It didn't work out so well. When he wasn't ranging, they employed more peaceful tools. Broke bread with tribal elders. He was nobody's fool, nobody's fool. Red, white, and blue. Hey, hey, soldier man, you've been working hard. Give all you got to give. Step up and do your part. You do your part. With the strength of a warrior's heart. Didn't do it for the fame. All gave some gave all to stand in freedom's name. Freedom's name. You know it ain't no fucking game. No, no, no. Oh yeah, Daddy was an army man. Through and through. Proud to be
Hey, what's up? Sorry if I killed your ears. I gotta figure out my audio stuff. I need a real producer, but, you know, doing my best here, okay? So I got a quote up and it's from this really cool book I'm going to show you, but it's a book about Charlie Parker, and I'm going to show you the book, but a guy from who used to live in Salt Lake City, he moved up to New York a while ago, but he's a really great musician, but also an awesome artist, and he does these cool comic books. So a he did a comic graphic novel thing, and so I'm just gonna play a little bit of Charlie Parker, but that's where my quote of the day is from. And you can order this online. It's been out a few years, but it's really well done. So I'm just gonna play a little bit of Charlie Parker real quick. All right. So I kind of wanted to play with this idea of the quote, I was on cloud nine hearing the music that night changed my life, because that's definitely been applicable for me. And I like to take quotes out of books directly. So this is the big honkin' one. This is the deluxe edition. It's super gorgeous. And it comes with, I think it comes with a little record album, whatever they call those. It comes with these nice prints. I think it comes with like 6 of these. But there's the normal edition, and the publisher is, it's really simple. Why can't I remember? It's like Z2 Comics. So I put a link to Dave Chisholm's site, and you can search for that. You can buy it on Amazon, but I think you can still buy it direct from Z2 Comics. And Dave Chisholm is amazing. He moved on beyond the Salt Lake City scene, but he actually played the trumpet a lot in his bands when he was around town. But he's a legit musician. He went and got I lost track of him when I rage quit Facebook years ago, but he was teaching up at a college in New York somewhere. But he's really cool. I love that book. I bought a couple different copies and gave it out to people. But I love the deluxe edition. I doubt it's still available because it's been so many years, but the regular edition is still gorgeous. So since I was kind of planning tentatively to have a friend on, I wanted to leave room for her to come on and talk. She's a former medic in the military. I believe she was Army. Sorry if I get that wrong. But now she's an ER doctor, and I'm lucky enough to get to chat with her sometimes online. But I have another online friend who is pretty amazing, former Marine. And so I thought I would fill some of the space that I've reserved for talking with my other friend live. I wanted to play a clip. This is a documentary press screener. It's going to be coming out to Netflix. I happen to be lucky enough to get a code to access the press screener. There's a trailer out for it. It's called Thank You, Dr. Fauci. It's going to be coming out on Netflix. I don't know when exactly. But I'm going to roll this in and introduce you to someone who's featured. He's featured in the film, but basically the film was heavily based upon his research. So check this out.
Going through all these different documents, there's a lot of people who have been covering this for years now. What I understand about Dr. Richard Ebright is that he is, in a sense, probably the most vocal critic of Anthony Fauci. Richard, is it true that people call you Anthony Fauci's worst nightmare?
Yes.
From what I've read, it seems like he hates Anthony Fauci and Anthony Fauci hates him.
And it's not even just about COVID. It's like been happening for the last 20 years between the two of them.
We have willful, deliberate misfeasance that likely caused a pandemic, killed 20 million, and cost $25 trillion. Against that context, it is unsurprising that individuals would prefer a lie.
Neil Harrison is a scientist at Columbia, and he was tracking COVID since the beginning.
Scientists don't generally like to criticize other scientists, and we really don't like to use the F word.
What's the F word?
Fraud. I said the F word.
And he's now helping a congressional investigation into the origins of COVID and the potential of a cover-up.
Hi, this is Emily Kopp. I'm a reporter with US Right to Know in Washington.
So Emily Kopp is a health reporter, and around 2021, she shifted into covering the origins of COVID.
I felt like I had a moral obligation to get answers.
She's been responsible for a lot of the Freedom of Information documents, and her main focus has been sort of piecing together the behind-the-scenes communications between Fauci and this group of scientists.
So I'm gonna go see Charles Rixey. What do I need to know about him?
Rixey, he's part of this group called Drastic, which is this sort of decentralized investigative team comprised of scientists, web sleuths, and veterans.
That's me in the black shirt. I was really sick when I got COVID. And then a former Marine reached out to me and said, you should look into the origin of the virus. And from that date in 2020, I shifted my attention full-time to figuring out what the origin of the virus was.
He believes COVID was engineered in a lab.
on January 11th. The genome of SARS-CoV-2 was released by the Chinese.
This is the genetic sequence of the virus. Molecular biologists can look at these letters and they can compare these sequences to other similar viruses looking for differences. And they immediately found a huge difference.
Some aspects of it looked unnatural.
That section right in the middle, PRRA, that is something that they call a furin cleavage site. And that can have a lot to do with how infectious the virus is in humans. They could not find it in any similar viruses, and that was really suspicious.
All right. I didn't want to play too much of that, but I wanted to introduce Charles Rixey. His work is vast, and he really was like foundational for the production of this film, which I believe is about 90 minutes. So if you're lucky enough to look around, I think you can find access to the Thank You Dr. Fauci doc right now, because it is open for press screening, and it will soon be available broadly. I believe you can actually search for it and pay to have access right now. So I suggest checking that out. You know, it's not to be radical. And like that whole tie-in here, loosely, you know, bear with me, but the thing is, like, our military servicemen and women, they put themselves at risk thinking they're doing something for the greater good. They believe in that. They need support, especially when they're out of military service, and you know, they put themselves at risk when they're in it. And then people that are doing journalism like this, doing research, they put themselves at risk as well. And you know, I think that was part of my my motivation here to get online and just discuss these things that seem to be really difficult to have actual discourse. Like, we can disagree and still be friends in real life, but with the hyperbole and the kind of, I don't know, the atmosphere of social media, it gets really tough to actually get people to sit down and have these important conversations. And so when documentaries come out like this, I think it's really important to just, you know, look at it. And it's so tragic to me that people now get criticized. It's like become this ad hominem attack. Like, if you do your own research, why should that be problematic? I don't get that. It's really frustrating. And I'm not saying I know everything about any topic. However, you do have to be willing to look at uncomfortable things. It's the only way you can learn any kind of discernment. I don't know if that's exactly the right way to say it, but you have to try and look at everything that's out there and, you know, be willing to change your mind. I think that's one of my themes, just in my videos the last week, but just in my life, is like trying to find the authentic people. And Charles Rixey is definitely just one of my personal heroes. Like, it sounds kind of corny to say that, and he's such a humble guy. He would, you know, he wouldn't even want us to call him that. I don't think. but his work is really important for the world. There's a lot of people that are involved in this research, this work, bringing the truth to light. Like my friend likes to say, truth with a capital T. So I just wanted to make sure that I was doing the little bit that I could do, being on the sidelines. It can be hard, like if you're not the soldier, you're just on the periphery. Like, how do you actually support people that are putting their physical bodies at risk or their reputations at risk? And I don't think that bravery is the lack of fear, right? This has been spoken of before. I did not invent this. But it's acting despite your fear. So that's kind of my personal mission. And, you know, we all put ourselves at risk every day just walking outside. I was out in the wind working today. It was crazy. All the leaves were basically blowing sideways. I was cracking up because people had there were lots of lawn care workers out and about different neighborhoods where I was working today, and they're like leaf blowing, but it was doing nothing because the wind was so strong. And I was walking under some tall trees, just praying I would not get struck down by a fucking branch. So, you know, even doing a stupid job like me, it's like I wanted to share this because I get tips from my clients sometimes through this app where they can just send it electronically, and this lady always writes the nicest comments for me. She says, "Windy day to scoop poop. Catherine did it with no complaints as the dust and twigs blowing in her face. What a trooper." And that shit cracks me up. She's just this sweet old lady that always she's so nice. So, you know, I ain't no hero, but some folks, they're sweet enough to give me an attaboy, and, you know, it counts for a lot. So yeah, just sending that good energy towards people when you're on the periphery, that matters so much. And I got to talk about that with a good friend the other day, and it's just been sticking with me, you know. My chat, to quote an Al Pacino character, "You can die walking your dog." So yeah, do we have to become martyrs? I don't think so, but I think we do have to take some risk in life. And I think that as a broad kind of statement, my feeling is just that, like, we affect change by just, you know, being authentic and trying to make a difference, you know, but in like a humble way. Like, you don't want to go out and try and change everything and fix every single problem, maybe. That's a little prideful, but you know, you just try and do your best every day, and I think it counts for a hell of a lot more than we realize. I mean, even if you're just affecting a few people, it matters to them, and you know, that's kind of what I've been trying to do. So I'm going to keep this really short today. I just, you know, thought it was really important to introduce the world to Charles Rixey, even if it doesn't really hit too many people. I think, again, just putting that energy out there, it can count for a lot. It matters to me personally. I was really fortunate today. I had a pretty busy day. Originally, my schedule was short, and so I made these tentative plans to go get coffee with a friend, and he was talking about how when he was in Kuwait in 2008, there wasn't really a lot of things going on in Kuwait back then. However, bands would come out to play, and he was a helicopter mechanic, and he said, yeah, I mostly repaired or worked on helicopters that were taking in VIPs and like elsewhere in the Middle East, just adjacent to where he was. And they had a really small group of people, and even like the bands would stop by and play for them. And so that was really timely, because I had already pulled up this quote before talking to him about that, and then I just thought that was really cool that he like reiterated that in such a beautiful way. But I was like, you fly in VIPs, and he said, well, yeah, it sounds weird, but it was like bands that were traveling to go play for troops. And so, yeah, I just wanted to give my respectful nod. And I'm going to end the show here with, let's see. Oops. I got to pull up the correct clip. Sorry. I played the launch of the SpaceX Falcon today, launching some more Starlink satellites. And on the launch, where that camera is, I grew up in Orlando, and we would go out and see the space shuttles when they still had the space shuttle program. We could see them from far away from our house. We lived maybe a 30-minute drive from Cape Canaveral, but you could see it once it would get over the trees. And sometimes when the space shuttle was coming back to Earth, you could hear the sonic boom from the nose and the tail breaking the sound barrier, and it would like shake the house. It was really freaky. But occasionally we went out to Cape Canaveral to watch the launches live, and on the launch video I showed, where that camera was, when I was a kid, we stood there for a night launch, and that was amazing because on the takeoff, you could just see all that water light up. It was amazing. I might have to search for some video of that, but it's one of my coolest memories as a kid, was seeing a launch from that very perspective where that camera was from. Because it's all cornered off. You can't get too close to it. That's about as close of a view as you can get of the launch pad, but it's still cool you can even get that close. So to close out, I am going to play the landing. I believe it's called the secondary rocket booster that they have land on their little platform on the water. So this is so cool because they have cameras built in to the rocket itself. So that's the only way we can see it, is these people can get that feed. So here's this, and thank you so much for being here. I'm gonna take a couple days off and not stream for a few days, but I'll be back soon. Thanks. Oops.
The call for that landing burn, you see it there on your screen. Should be getting some views from the drone ship itself as well.
Landing leg deploy. Stage 1 landing confirmed.
And a good landing.
All right. Thanks again. Have a good night.